The Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama was born among a peasant family in Tibet. His name, Tenzin Gyatso, was recognized as the reincarnation of the 13th Dalai Lama at only the age of 2. When his country was invaded by China, His Holiness was called upon as head of state and government. After the Tibetan national uprising, the Dalai Lama had to seek exile in India. There, he set up the government of Tibet in the exile of Dharmasala. The Dalai Lama began his spiritual education at only the age of 6. Here is where he learned about mental and physical roles in life. He was taught that the mind plays a major role. He was also taught that the mind registers every event, no matter how small. Inner tranquility comes from development of love and compassion. From the least to most important event, the affection and respect of others are vital for our happiness. True compassion does not change even if the person acts negatively. Buddhism is centered on 4 basic truths. Life is not perfect. People are left unsatisfied by trying to make life perfect. People can realize that there is a better way to achieve fulfillment. And lastly, live one's life through wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. The physical role was a small role in his life. He was taught that if the body was content, we would virtually ignore the physicalness. His spiritual education helped him to become very wise. Schooling taught him the values of working hard. His leadership responsibilities. At the age of 16, he was called upon to assume full political power as head of state and government when Tibet was threatened by the mighty China. He proposed a 5-point peace plan as a step towards resolving the future status of Tibet. Transformation of a whole of Tibet into a zone of peace. Abandonment of China's population transfer policy. Respect for the Tibetan people's fundamental human rights and democratic freedoms. And lastly, restoration of Tibet in its natural environment, commencement of earnest negotiation of China's between the Chinese and Tibet people. His Holiness promulgated a draft constitution for Tibet, which assured a democratic form of government. Contact with the power, unlike his predecessors, he sent out contact people of the Western Hemisphere for help and knowledge. He has visited the United States, Canada, Western Europe, United Kingdom, the Soviet Union, Japan, Singapore, Costa Rica, and many other places. He has met with religious leaders such as Pope Paul, Pope John Paul II, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Dr. Robert Runcie, and with other leaders of the Anglican Church in London. He has also had a lot of humanitarian work. The Dalai Lama is a spiritual leader of the Tibetan Buddhism. He has written numerous books and conducted hundreds of lectures, conferences, and workshops at major universities and institutions throughout the world, discussing engaging in wisdom, compassion, and more recently, environmental sustainability. His message is always one of peace and in compassion for people all over the world. In 1989, the Dalai Lama was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his nonviolent efforts for the liberation of Tibet and his concern for global environmental problems. Numbers of Western universities and institutions have given peace awards and honorary doctorate degrees upon the Dalai Lama and his recognition of distinguished writings in Buddhist philosophy. Many people in Tibet have had tension towards China. The Dalai Lama tried to calm them down by telling them violence is not the way. The Dalai Lama wants Tibet to be a place of peace in the heart of Asia. The Dalai Lama is one of the most famous faces in the world. He is an award-winning and spiritual leader of the Tibet people. He promotes peace in his country and is also across the world. The National Geographic for Kids magazine quoted the Dalai Lama. He stated, "You need patience and determination. Study and become an expert in something, because education can bring compassion, peace, and harmony. That will bring both confidence and stability. When you have all that, you can influence other people as an example that the way to bring more peaceful communities. The Dalai Lama's quote can portray the type of individual he was. Thank you.